All right, so I'm out here today in my backyard. I've got a pretty big fig tree I've been growing over the past 10 or so years. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of these figs off and we're gonna make some fig jam. It ought to be fun. So I'll give you just a little bit of an idea of what to look for to some extent. A lot of the figs are up high, but they're usually just towards the end of the branches, and that's why. I can throw them into cakes and pies and pizzas, whatever I want. Without anything else, all we're gonna do is I'm just gonna go up here and I'm gonna start looking for ripe figs, right? Sometimes you gotta move the branches around to find some. Like I said, they're typically towards the end of the branches, so I might have to either step up and grab them or bend some down. So here's a few right here. Like I said, we've had a really good year. So you can see I got 3 right there off of that one little spot. This might be the most amount of figs I've ever had. To be honest, there is just an insane amount of figs here. They are everywhere. Okay, well, that's a generous haul. I basically have an entire 2-quart, whatever that is, 2-quart bucket full of figs here. So basically what I did is just went once around the tree and found as many good ones as I could find. Gosh, I mean, as many as you could want. It's definitely probably more than I can eat. Anyway, we're gonna go inside. I'm gonna prepare some preserved figs and we'll save all these up for our friends and family and for later on in the year when we want to keep eating them. And I'll show you how to do it, so follow me. All right, everyone, we're back in the kitchen. I'm gonna take all these figs that I picked and I'm gonna turn them into fig preserves. And that is just essentially gonna take all of the figs and I'm gonna can them in this kind of candied syrup. It's gonna make them last a lot longer. You'll be able to take them out of the jar, use them for pretty much anything. You can make jelly, jam. I'll be able to just put them on pizza or whatever you want. You could take them out and dry them if you needed to. You know, the point is I'm gonna take these figs and essentially can them to preserve them for use at a future time because they will go bad pretty quick. And as you can see, I got some cans and stuff here. I have a pot and it's gonna be really, really simple. It's not a very hard recipe. So I've just got some plain white sugar, 4 cups of sugar, and this is essentially to make the syrup that I'm using. So I'm just gonna pile in 4 cups of sugar here. So you could use lemon, lime, or both. So in order to make this a little bit more tart, you usually add, especially with jellies and jams, you usually add lemon, but you can actually use lime as well because it has that kind of sour, tangy flavor to it. So I'm gonna take these, 1 second here. I'm gonna go get a cup of water. I'm gonna add that to the sugar. And we're essentially just making a really thick syrup out of this sugar here. So you can see it's super thick. Actually, that looks so thick, I think I'm gonna add just a little bit more water. There we go. So just gonna start getting that pot prepared. I'm just gonna start putting it in the heat. So this is where we can get creative with a lot of this stuff. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start slicing some lime. And I have washed this lime pretty thoroughly before I put it in the pot. So you got that tangy, citrusy flavor. And then I've also got a lemon. So I've got lemon and lime, and that will go into the syrup. The recipe also calls for a pinch of salt. Shake a little bit of salt in there, doesn't require much. Just gonna kind of stir this up a little bit, try to get to a syrup state. And so the longer I leave the lemon and the lime in there, the more citrusy I'm gonna bring it out. So essentially I'm gonna taste that right before I finish this, before I put it into the jar and see where it's at. I've got some ginger here. So fig doesn't really have any citrus or tart to it. It's sort of a bland fruit. So I'm just gonna kind of heat this up until all my sugar is dissolved. Now that I've got that done, I'm gonna take my figs and I'm gonna start adding them into the dish. You just want to make sure they kind of get covered. Once I have this done, I'm going to put all this in the cans. I'm going to go get another pot, and you put something like this at the bottom, which essentially just keeps the glass off of the bottom of the pan so that it doesn't break the glass, right? So I'm just going to start ladling in, hopefully without hitting my fingers. This, and I need to leave like, there we go, like a 1/4 inch, right? So I'm gonna try to make sure the figs are actually under. There's a little bit left, and I'm trying to look at which jar we want to put these in. All right, so we got some gaps. I still have some juice, so I'm gonna fill. They say you want like a 1/4 inch from the top roughly. That one's gonna be pretty close to all the way filled up. And this part usually takes about 15 minutes or so. And I'm glad I didn't have 5 because I don't think they would have fit in this. So we got kind of a roll and boil here going. It's been 15 minutes. So these are gonna come out and they will cool. So the final thing I do is just make sure that all the pins have been popped, or essentially all of the cans are sealed. They are all sealed. I will leave them to cool. Oh. That one is not sealed. Yeah. Anyway, you pull them out, you check and make sure. Once you pull them out, you just kind of push on them, check and make sure they're all sealed up, and you're good to go. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing. We'll catch you on the next one. Cheers. Heaven.